Natasha.
Debbie.
Show.
The show.
Welcome to it. Just two patriotic girls.
Learning about the world.
So please, don't take us the wrong way. Hi, New Zealand.
You beat me to it. Welcome to the Natasha and Debbie show.
I had to say hi, New Zealand.
You sure did.
You're beautiful and you're sexy.
And it's my turn. Hi, New Zealand.
I call them sexy, so
Sexy.
they are.
They are. They can be. What we've seen so far is absolutely gorgeous.
Sexy.
And sexy and beautiful. So we can't wait to learn more.
Yeah, and we're going to do that in just a second. But before we do that, if you guys wouldn't mind, hit that like button. It takes a half a second, and it helps the channel out a little bit. And what helps out even more, and what we'd like even more, is if you consider
Subscribing to our channel, but check out some of our content. Make sure you want to be a part of our family.
Yes. So today, we have done this with all the other countries that we have been looking at here on Worldwide Wednesdays, and that's the Geography Now. And today's Geography Now, New Zealand.
That's
so
right.
I'm excited about it. We learn a lot from these videos.
I love how much information they give us.
Yeah, he does. Sometimes he does them a little too fast. I'm hoping this one will be like the other ones, like the further down the alphabet they go, the longer they are, and the slower he is. The last one was Finland, and that one was way too fast. But anyway, we're excited to learn about this. We really don't know anything about the geography, cultures, and things like that. So they'll touch on a lot of different things. And I know they typically do get really good comments from people saying that these are usually pretty accurate. So you let us know if that is in fact the case. So without any further ado, I'm pumped to learn about New Zealand. So let's start right now.
Now, when I think of New Zealand, really only one word seems to come to mind. Tau matawhakatangi hanga ko au au o tamatea tsuri pu ka ka piki maunga horo nuku pokai whenua kita na tahu.
What was that?
It's time to learn geography.
Now! Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbs.
What the
New
hell did
Zealand
he
is one
just
of those
say?
places where a few people have made a powerful image for themselves. It's one of the last places on Earth to be discovered and inhabited by humans. And when they arrived, it was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Mostly because there were these massive 12 feet tall bird monsters. We'll get into that in a bit. But first, New Zealand is not only a key player in the ocean nations, but a geographic anomaly. As in, half the time when you look at artwork or decorations or newscasts
they're not
or
on the
even
map.
educational books, New Zealand is forgotten
It's
from
not
the
fair.
map. Kiwis even joke about it. Even their government website 404 page not found website pokes fun at it. Anyway, New Zealand, or Aotearoa, is located in the southwestern Pacific Ocean, about 1,200 miles or 2,000 kilometers off the coast of Australia, and about 600 miles or 1,000 kilometers from the nearest major islands of Fiji, Tonga, and New Caledonia. Meaning technically, France is their closest neighbor. The country is made up of two main large islands, aptly named the North Island, or Te Ika a Maui.
What? Really? France?
I guess.
I need a map. Okay, that blew my mind. Huh. And it's only, I'm saying only because I thought it'd be further away, 1,200 miles from Australia. Okay, interesting.
Neighbor. The country is made up of two main large islands, aptly named the North Island, or Te Ika a Maui, which makes up about 42% of the landmass, yet holds about 3/4 of the population, and the larger, yet less populated South Island, or Te Waiponamu, at about 56% of the landmass. The remaining 2-ish% of the landmass is made up of hundreds of interior and outlying islands, 33 main ones that are either around the main two islands, like the largest one, Stewart Island, just south of South Island. Then you have the outlying island chains, like the northernmost Kermadec Islands, the easternmost Chatham Islands, and the sub-Antarctic southernmost point,
Ain't gonna find those on the map.
Islands. The country is a unitary
Not
state
ours.
divided into 16 councils, 11 regional councils, and 5 unitary regional councils.
That's a lot.
The Chatham Islands act as their own special territorial authority. The second largest city, Wellington, is the capital, the southernmost capital in the world. However, Auckland up north is the largest city, which holds about 1/3 of the entire population of the country, with the largest and busiest airport, Auckland International. Otherwise, Christchurch on South Island is the 3rd largest city and holds the 2nd busiest airport, Christchurch Christchurch International. But wait, that's not all. The sovereignty claim extends even further, and then you get the 3 New Zealand realm territories and Free Association Island nations. These are Tokelau, the Cook Islands, and Niue. Tokelau is considered a non-self-governing dependent territory. It also has a territorial dispute with American Samoa over Swains Island, whereas the Cook Islands and Niue are labeled as self-governing states in free association with New Zealand. Finally, you have the Ross Dependency, which is New Zealand's claim to Antarctica, which of course under the Antarctic Treaty does not actually fall under their sovereignty, but you know, a lot of people like to say they have something they can't. Whew, for a nation that doesn't even show up half the time on maps, there's a lot going on here.
But wait, if New Zealand is just an island in the middle of the Pacific, which continent is New Zealand a part of?
Ah, good question. That is a question that has kind of stumped cartographers for centuries. In the simplest sense, categorically, New Zealand is part of the broader region known as Oceania, which is basically just Australia plus everything else in Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. Technically, Australia and New Zealand together are called Australasia. However, it's weird because New Zealand doesn't lie on the same continental shelf as
Have you heard that before? Australasia?
No, I have not.
I haven't either.
I have definitely not heard that before.
Australia. This has led to the consideration of New Zealand belonging to a newer subregion known as Zealandia. Classified by some dude in the 90s as either a continental fragment or a microcontinent made up of a submerged continental crust shelf that expands all the way from New Caledonia to an empty spot in the ocean just south of the Campbell Islands. 93% of Zealandia is submerged, with New Zealand being the largest protruding segment. Either way, however you want to categorize it, New Zealand is kind of strange.
Wait, go back to the self-governing island thing. Do they belong to New Zealand, or are they full countries?
Good question. It's kind of like this. Okay guys, look, the British just kind of put you under my jurisdiction, so I guess that means you're all New Zealand citizens, okay?
Yeah, but we all have our own languages and customs and want to write a constitution for ourselves with free association status. We're basically countries in our own right, but under your overarching sovereignty, I guess.
Like, your military can come in for defense, but otherwise we got everything else covered.
I mean, guys, I have less than 2,000 people on less than 5 square miles of land on 3 islands. I think I'll just become a dependent territory state.
All right, fair enough. 2 kind of countries with loose ties and 1 dependent territory country with stronger ties. Got it.
Plus, hey, I became the first completely solar-powered nation in the world.
Not exactly fully functional sovereign nation state by definition, but yeah, good for you. Some places of interest in New Zealand might include the world's steepest street at a gradient of 38 degrees, the National Museum, Auckland's Sky Tower, you can actually jump off of it, Rotorua geysers and traditional Maori village, Rainbow's End and Splash Planet, the International Antarctic Center, Hobbiton, so many wine fields like the ones in Marlborough, 90 Mile Beach, which is actually only 56 miles, Waitomo Caves with glowworms, Frying Pan Lake, and the Meraki spherical boulders. And honestly, I could go on and on with all the natural wonders of this country, but that would take like 50 videos, and we gotta cram as much as we can in this one.
Yeah, but dang it, that was too fast.
Take a breath. I know. There was so much in there.
You take a breath. You take a breath.
In the comments. Let us know what you want us to take a deeper look at.
Yeah, I hate when they go really, really fast on these things. But like he says, you do try to put a lot of stuff in when you're making videos like that.
You do.
But I'd kind of like to know a little bit more. Now, we looked at Hobbiton for a second in the last video, and like I said then, I want to do a whole separate video on it. I don't know if you guys want us to, but I'd like to see it. But
I think it'd be cool in those caves.
Yeah, well, look at the current photo. Yes. No, but seriously, check out the caves. I'd like to. There was so much there, but you can jump off the building in Auckland. Like you can.
I guess I'm not. There's no way.
Bungee jump? Nope. Have you done it? Let us know. Yeah, not happening.
So let's just talk about all the natural stuff of New Zealand, shall we?
Yes, please.
Now, New Zealand is an outdoors country, world-renowned for its mind-blowingly wonderful landscape displayed in a number of films and movies.
Fun fact, The Lord of the Rings gave them so much publicity and tourism money that they even have a Minister of the Rings in their parliament.
Oh, do they now?
You wrote the script for the episode, and I'm just reading off the teleprompter, so I figured you would know that.
I did. First of all, the country is located in the Ring of Fire on the convergence of the Pacific and Australian plates that creates the mountainous southern Alps of the southern island. Here you can find the tallest peak, Mount Cook or Aoraki, at over 12,000 feet or 3,700 meters, whereas across the Cook Strait, the smaller Kaweka Range can be found on the North Island. This, in return, makes the country subject to earthquakes and volcanic activity. There are about 83 known volcanoes of all types, and the largest active one being Ruapehu on North Island. Otherwise, you can see other volcanic wonders like the dormant Banks Peninsula on South Island, and the eerily perfect circular Mount Taranaki on the west side of North Island. Just to skip away, you find the largest lake, Lake Taupo in the Taupo caldera, one of the largest supervolcanoes on Earth. From there, the lake is drained by the longest river of the country, the Waikato. Now, New Zealand is interesting because due to its shape, there is no part of the country that is more than about 80 miles or so from the ocean. The flat.
That's not fair.
I know. So close to the ocean, no matter where you are.
Yeah, it's like the UK and stuff. And
I
we were
know.
like, we're a 10-hour freaking drive from the nearest ocean.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what
Anyways.
fresh seafood tastes like unless we go on vacation. It's not fair.
It's sad.
It sucks.
We need more.
We should go
More
to New Zealand
vacations.
and stuff.
Let's go.
Get near a coast.
Let's go.
That's so. Oh.
Flatter valleys on the sides of the mountains are where most people live and produce crops and livestock. Skip a little further west and you get the least inhabited and difficult to access, but most breathtaking part of New Zealand, the Fjordland.
Fjordland.
Steep cliffs plunging into the Tasman Sea, with Milford Sound being the most popular spot and the only one accessible by road. New Zealand ranks as one of the top most landform diverse countries on Earth, having everything from alpine forests, glaciers, geothermal geysers. They even have a small desert in the middle of North Island.
did not
And on
know
some of the
that.
coasts, you have tropical beaches with magnetic black
Magnetic?
sand containing magnetite. Seriously,
Hold on. What?
Didn't know that part.
I want some sand.
and on some of the coasts, you have tropical beaches with magnetic black sand.
Stop it.
That is pretty cool.
I want some.
I know.
Where do you say that was? I was too busy staring
North Island.
at the North Island, you say?
Yeah, the North Island.
Oh, we don't happen to know anybody on the North Island.
And we haven't had any magnetic black sand.
Interesting.
That isn't very interesting.
P.O. Box address in the description of our video.
Containing magnetite.
That's
Seriously,
cool.
I still have some. Check it out. This is from Piha Beach in North
Is that
Island.
really how you pronounce that
Whoa,
place?
it sticks on. Now, the one thing about New Zealand that set it apart upon discovery is that other than 2 species of bat, the entire island had no mammals prior to human encounter. Now, this is usually the part where Noah comes
Oh,
in, but
really?
he had a scheduling conflict. They couldn't be here today,
Really?
so therefore, I saw Min Random Hannah. Hannah, take it away.
The country is a bird haven with over 200 species, over half endemic to New Zealand. And the funny thing, many of which are flightless.
Kiwi.
It's like the flightless bird capital of the world. Species such as the kakapo, the world's only flightless nocturnal parrot, and they have more species of penguin than anywhere else on the planet. At
How
one
cool.
point, a long time ago, they used to have the moa, a 12-foot tall monster until
Seriously?
it was hunted by the native Maori to extinction. Then you have the national
Kiwi.
animal, the famous kiwi, a flightless bird which comes in 5
They
forms
freak me
on
out.
both islands. Known for their hair-like feathers, long beaks with nostrils, making them some of the only few bird species that can smell. Otherwise, with flying birds, you
Whoa.
have the kia,
That's
the
beautiful.
world's only alpine parrot. And if you see one, they are curious creatures, unafraid of humans, that love to chew on shiny objects or rubber.
Oh, they are
Seriously,
cool.
those guys tried to steal my stuff one time.
Outside of the bird world, you can find reptiles like the turatara, which has a third parietal eye on the top of its head, or the giant weta, the heaviest insect on
What?
Earth.
Sitting a carrot?
Resource-wise, the
Hold
country
up,
is
let's
or the
just talk
giant
about
weta, the heaviest.
The heaviest and heaviest? That's a weird thing to say. Heaviest
Yeah.
insect on Earth. What does that mean, heaviest?
It's the one that weighs the most?
Right, that would make more say it. That
Yeah, I don't
heaviest is a
know.
weird way to put that. It's eating a carrot. How
And it's huge. Look at it in
And
that
I'm, like,
person's hand.
figuring out my hand here.
We're going to have to look more at these things.
How often
Strange
do you see
creatures.
those? Where are they at? Tell us.
Are they everywhere?
I
Just
know
one?
the
Just
kiwi
that?
bird. I've researched and looked at the kiwi bird before. There, you won't see those very often at all. There are not many of them, so they're interesting.
Insect on Earth. Ugh. Resource-wise, the country is known for its huge dairy farming and livestock industry. Jade or greenstone is a precious stone mined
What?
and sold
What?
here, as well often
What?
carved into jewelry or traditional Maori tools and ornament. Besides all that, though, much of the country makes money through tourism, specifically outdoor tourism,
Okay.
specifically Queensland on South Island. This place offers everything from skydiving, paragliding, and zorbing,
Yes.
which, by the way, the Kiwis invented.
Those
and
look like
speaking
fun.
of Kiwi inventions, food. Kiwis are without a doubt seafood folk. Native species like gurnard, hoki, hake, hapuku, pawa, and crayfish are made into
crayfish.
numerous dishes. Cooked, raw, smoked, steamed, battered, and fried with chips.
Batter,
if that's
please.
not your thing, some non-fishy Kiwi dishes might include things like roast lamb, savory meat pies, hokey pokey ice cream, Kiwi-style burger.
Come on, you know you wanna
talk
roast
about it.
lamb,
Ice cream?
savory meat pies, hokey pokey
You don't know, Debbie's an ice cream obsessed woman. She's crazy for ice cream. What's hokey pokey ice cream? She's gonna need a full description.
Do tell more. I don't know about this.
I can't understand what I'm looking at.
I don't know. I'm definitely gonna have to
Dig into that more.
hit up the Google.
What is this video on hokey pokey ice cream?
I know.
That looks, I would eat it. I don't even really like ice cream that much, but
It looks interesting, so I need more info.
it's definitely giving questions.
ice cream, kiwi-style burger, manuka honey, kumara, Ellen
We can buy the
peach,
manuka honey
pavlova
here.
cake, and one of the most traditional Mori dishes, hangi.
Pavlova.
And speaking of cultural
Hold on, let's go
pavlova
back.
cake, and one of the most
Oh no, it said something. Aussies, I know, right? That's what it said, because we've heard from a lot of our Aussie friends that pavlova was invented there. And then even the same thing we had with the fairy bread. We've heard both countries claim.
Yeah, both are claiming, so.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
What is true there, so.
Let's have a comment war.
Oh.
Who really made the pavlova? Who came up with the fairy bread?
There you go.
Is there a way to actually know? Let's not have a comment war. Is there really a way to find that out? But
I don't think there is.
yeah, we'll be trying this soon on our Patreon. Debbie does cooking episodes.
I can't wait to try it. It looks yummy.
Yeah, it looks really
Although I've heard
good.
it's complicated, so hopefully it's not that bad.
And one of the most
Sorry, I didn't mean to
traditional
hit that.
Mori dishes, hangi. And speaking of cultural tradition, we go to...
Thank you, Hannah. Feel free to follow her on Instagram.
No problem.
Yeah, that's a thing now. Now, this is going to be the best part of the episode because the people of New Zealand, known as Kiwis, are the biggest treasure you'll find. First of all, the country has about 5 million people and often ranks as one of the top 3 ease of business index countries in the world with the least corruption.
Oh, wow.
At somewhere around 74%, the country is made up primarily of peoples of European descent, mostly of English, Scottish, and Irish ancestry. About 15% of the country is native Maori, 7% Pacific Islander, and the rest are mostly Asian of various countries like China, Korea, and Japan.
Gotcha.
Yes, by the way, it's pronounced Maori, not Maori, Maori. They use the New Zealand dollar as their currency, they use the Type I plug outlet, and they drive on the left side of the road. Now, we all know that English is the most widely spoken language in the country with a distinct Kiwi dialect. To outsiders, it sounds just like the Australian one, but they swear it's different. They have some distinct Kiwi words. Here's my Kiwi buddy Jared explaining.
Bro, it's a beaut. I'm off to the dairy. Is that us? Yeah, nah, it's a cracker, but it's ages and we're in the wops. Ew, you're taking the piss. It's close as. Chuck on your jandals and it'll be a piece of piss. Whatever then, only if you stop rocking me out. Stoked. Sweet as.
Nonetheless, there are actually 2 other official languages of New Zealand, Maori and New Zealand Sign Language, making New Zealand the first country to adopt signing as an official language, even though only half of 1% knows it. Now let's talk about culture and the whole Maori thing. The Maori traditionally come from about 100 or so iwi, or tribes, or peoples, spread throughout both islands.
Oh, wow.
Most in the north part of the country, the largest being the Ngapuhi at over 100,000 people. Their culture is a huge integral factor that plays into what it means to be Kiwi.
Are they on the
I mean,
haka?
instead of hello, you'll often hear the Maori word kia ora as a greeting.
Kia ora.
Most schools teach the Maori language in elementary years, and there are immersion schools as well. In addition, they have a few television channels and radio stations that speak almost entirely in Maori. Today, the
That's
majority
neat.
of native speakers are found in the North Island, most heavily concentrated in the Northland and Gisborne and Bay of Plenty regions. And speaking of Maori, we cannot do this episode without talking about the haka.
I knew it.
Almost everyone on the island knows one form of the traditional war.
We have seen the haka.
we have.
And again, we thank our friend Talitha that we met from New Zealand. And I was just kind of grabbed this real quick over here off the bookshelf. This was the first thing she ever sent to us in the P.O. box forever ago.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of different phrases and stuff, most of which I can't pronounce. So there's that. But yeah, I've seen the haka. Wow, talk about intimidation.
Yeah, I'd be scared.
I would literally
Run away.
get in fetal position and cry. If I was like, for example, in rugby, like seeing that happen.
Yeah.
Nah, I'd be like, y'all can win. Bye-bye.
Exactly.
War dance performed by both men and women, known for its aggressive movements, loud chanting, and intimidating facial expressions. Very often it's performed at sporting events. The haka is not only used at games or as a means
seen
to
it for
intimidate.
funeral.
Though. It can be used in a variety of situations, ranging from birthday parties, funerals, even weddings, where the people celebrate the union of 2 people happily, and everyone takes part in it, whether you are ethnically Maori or non-Maori. It's a tradition that really unites everyone on the island, regardless of race. Pretty cool, right?
I find that
now let's talk about
fascinating and cool.
tattoos. And actually, let's have another co-host do this. Let's see, which options do I have? Who can I select? Let's see, Hannah already did one. Why not Ken? All right, Ken, take it away.
You might occasionally come across someone with kirituhi, or skin art, or tamoko, which are face tattoos. There's so much information that goes into this, but basically, Maori tradition did not have a specific written script. Instead, they use a documented information and history through a series of wood carvings and tattoos.
Oh, okay.
No 2 are alike, as each person's tattoos told a specific story
That's
of who
cool.
they were. Generally, the left side is reserved for the father's lineage, and the right
really?
side the mother's. The patterns can describe
awesome.
everything from tribe, rank, work, expertise, athletics, athletic accomplishments, and so on. In other news, Kiwis are pretty athletic. You cannot talk about New Zealand without mentioning rugby. They are 3-time World Cup championship winners, and often when they don't win, they place in the top 3.
Thank you, Ken. Feel free to follow him on Instagram. And now it's time to talk about history, in the quickest way I can summarize it. Bird Island, no humans. Maori come in from Polynesia, maybe sometime around the 1200s. Maori Pa settlements established. Moa bird is hunted to extinction. Tribal battles for land. Abel Tasman becomes the first European to come in contact. They kind of forget about it until the British come in by like 100 years later. For a while, they just kind of traded with the Maori. Intertribal wars with the new weapons that they acquired by the Europeans. Missionaries, British colony, New Zealand wars, Treaty of Waitangi, controversy with mistranslation. Self-government within the British Empire, women's suffrage, massive immigration wave, World War I, mistranslation, self-government within the British Empire, women's suffrage.
Did you see that? First country to give women the vote, 1893.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. Very good, New Zealand.
That is a subject we'll be looking at very, very, very soon anyway. But I do think I've heard someone mention that before, but that's cool. And that's 1893.
That is amazing.
New Zealand.
Like I said, leading the way.
I don't like how fast they go through some of this. We will be looking more thoroughly into a lot of this information. In fact, check out next week's episode because I'm thinking that one will also give us a lot of information too.
Yeah.
I think you'll like it.
Massive immigration wave. World War I, they play a role in Pacific warfare against German-occupied Samoa. World War II, they play a role again in the Pacific, but this time against the Japanese in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
Statute of Westminster Adoption Act, Muldoon years, 1980 reforms, 1990s and early 2000s, business really starts to boom. Earthquake in Christchurch. Some notable people from New Zealand or of Kiwi descent might include people like Hongihika, Honiheke, Te Puea Herangi, Maui Pomare, Potatau Te Ferofero, Ernest Rutherford, Kate Shepherd, Sir Apirana Ngata, Sir Edmund Hillary, Sir Peter Jackson, Jacinda Ardern, Russell Crowe, Jonah Lomu, Sir Colin Meads, Dame Fina Cooper, Flight of the Conchords.
Are they really? I didn't know that. How many people thought Russell Crowe was Australian? Besides me.
I did.
I actually recently learned that he was from New Zealand, but I always thought he was Australian.
Yep.
Always.
Bruce McLaren, Catherine Mansfield, Lord, and
really?
the meme
Lord?
page Dolan Dark, I was told. Yeah, quite a few cool Kiwis out there. Which brings us to our next segment, the Kiwi Crew.
He left out my favorite of them all, Lucy Lawless, Xena. Come on, man.
She is your fave.
You can't leave her out.
Ooh, they're friends. The friend zone. All right, diplomatically speaking, New Zealand, for lack of a better term, is basically like Australia's Canada. They get along with nearly everyone, and unless if it's a rugby match, it's hard to harbor any animosity towards them. And even if it is a rugby match, it's like, okay, you guys can win. Just do that haka thing again. First of all, as part of numerous international organizations, New Zealand has harnessed an international network of alliances since its inception. For one, South Africa, Argentina, Uruguay, and Chile have had close links as members of the Convention for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources. These 5 nations kind of act as like the southern gateways to Antarctica, and they hold a high level of responsibility when it comes to monitoring the South Seas. China has an interesting, kind of good, but kind of controversial relationship with New Zealand. Not only have Chinese immigrants been living in New Zealand since the 19th century, but in 2008, a bold move with a free trade agreement was established, and today they are the second largest import and export partner. The problem is the housing market. Many Chinese investors have bought out property in metropolitan areas that remain unused and empty for the purpose of real estate appreciation. This has left many Kiwis unable to live in the houses in their own country. This has frustrated many of them for a long time, leaving them to ask the government for reforms in foreign investment policy. As a former British colony, they've always been closely linked to the UK, and UK citizens, often Scottish, choose to migrate and live in New Zealand. Problem is distance. New Zealand is one of the furthest members in the Commonwealth from the UK, and over time the UK relations waned as the UK paid more attention to the EU. Nonetheless, they've grown up, don't need to hold mommy's hand anymore, and they can handle their own affairs. Then we get to the quadfecta, the USA, Canada, and Australia. There is somewhat of an unspoken, unbreakable bond between these 4. New Zealand has fought alongside the US in almost every major global event from the 20th century and on. There was a slight hiccup in the ANZUS Security Treaty in the 80s in which they decided to initiate a nuclear-free zone in their territorial waters. Nonetheless, relations are still strong and they are considered one of the closest allies. Canada and New Zealand are very close though. They both think very similarly and are both Commonwealth Commonwealth nations with the same queen as their technical
King,
head
of
of
course.
state. Both share similar views on a variety of issues. Both are the smaller versions of a bigger neighbor that gets all the attention. Business, trade, and tourism is strong between them, and in a way, they kind of love each other for all these reasons. When it comes to their best friend, however, as much as they love to poke fun, mock, ridicule, and spit on each other, they cannot deny that Australia is the closest. Australia even has a clause in its constitution that allows New Zealand to become a part of their country if they should ever want to for whatever reason.
Right.
Although New Zealand is like, thanks, but
Yeah, I would think
no.
they would.
Australia is
We're
not
good.
only the largest trading and business partner, but also has the closest history and culture. The two have a unique Trans-Tasman agreement that states that citizens of each country can migrate and have automatic residency.
Oh,
The two
really?
go
Okay.
hand in hand.
cool.
However, when Australia isn't looking, Canada kind of slips in and they kind of go off on secret dates. In conclusion, as
cute.
humanity's last major expedition, you can imagine how the first settlers must have felt when they approached on this unknown world of glaciers, volcanoes, glowing caves, geysers, and giant 12-foot tall bird
Yeah,
monsters.
yeah.
Those
You
would
don't
be
need
scary.
Lord of the Rings. New Zealand already is a real-life fantasy.
Well, it was fast, as unfortunately they do sometimes on those videos,
As
but
always.
it was all awesome. It was just always, it's so cool to learn a little bit about stuff. Now, again, we want to go and dive deeper into a lot of these things.
We sure do.
But- Good.
I love at the end where they tell you who's friends and
Yeah.
who's not, and all the little hearts. And
That's cute.
these two countries are dating, and they go off on a little love fest.
No, there was a lot in there. I didn't know any of this stuff. It was
No.
all new to me.
Mhm.
Again, I wish they could just go a little bit slower and stretch it out. I don't know what the time constraints are sometimes, but if you guys like that episode, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Like I said, we have a video that we picked out for next week that's going to have some more information too. This can go fast sometimes. There's still like a lot to learn. So you let us know in the comments. What did he miss? Did he get anything wrong? How old was that video, by the way? Because I don't know. I didn't check. That was actually 4 years ago. So if there's anything, that was updated or whatnot, let us know. And like Debbie said earlier, when he went through like the cool things to check out there, where would you like us to take a look? What should we look at in New Zealand? Take a deep dive and really get to learn about.
Yes, exactly.
We don't know.
Please let us know.
Yeah.
Every place has something that's beautiful and unique to them.
Absolutely.
And I love learning these things.
And I thought it was cool that, and I know it would never happen, but it's just interesting how Australia has that clause that, hey, New Zealand, if you want to be part of us, you can. I know New
You
Zealand
ever need
probably,
to join us, you can.
That's just interesting. I wonder how many people already knew that. I'm just curious. Let us know if you learned something too. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this quick but informative episode of the Natasha and Debbie Show. And New Zealand, we're excited to learn even more and see more. And we'll see you back next Wednesday. Don't forget we have UK content Fridays and Sundays. So until the next episode, guys, please love like jazz.
Be as strong as Tyson.
Bye.
Bye.